Hey guys, so a couple of months ago I did a video about the 7artisans 35mm F1.8 lens that was an amazing lens for only $69. If you guys haven't watched that video, check it out. Now, 7artisans has released a new lens. This is the 35mm F1.2. When I heard about this lens, I sent an email over to Gear 7artisans and they graciously sent this out to me for review. So I'm excited to check this thing out. Let's see what comes in the box. So this is the box that the lens comes in, and very similar to the 7artisans 25mm. In fact, I think that this box is pretty much the exact same size. Not sure what that logo is on this side, and then some specs on the very back. A manual that says 35mm f1.2 lens. There you are. Microfiber carrying cloth and the lens. This thing is tiny. Wow, this thing is very small. There's the back and then a metal front lens cap. 7artisans. Look at that. So you can see how big that opening is. Here it is wide open. And as we step it down, very smooth, declicked aperture. Kind of stiff, actually. So here is what I'm looking at. Kind of tough to see because the aperture ring is very small, but there's f16 and then all the way over to f1.2. Here is the focus ring. It does extend the barrel, as you can see, and then collapse. I'm just impressed with how small this thing is. For a 35mm f1.2 lens, I was expecting it to be a lot bigger than it is. On the front, DJ Optical, dropping those hit records. 35, 1.2, 43mm filter thread, 7artisans, and then a serial number on it. On the back, it just says E-mount right there. No connections whatsoever because this is a manual only lens. However, you do get a metal mount, which is nice. So definitely very excited to try this thing out on my A6000 and see what type of picture you get. Look at that front lens element. Nice colors coming out of that. A lot of purples, greens, and quite a bit of a bow there. So yeah, let's try it out. So here is my A6000 and here is the kit lens next to the 7artisans 35mm. You can see it's about the same length, it's just a little bit narrower. Here is what it looks like mounted on the A6000. I do have to say it looks a little bit funny. It's pretty cool. The front lens element is nice, but the fact that it's narrower than the mount and then comes in like this is a little different. The manual aperture control is nice and smooth. So it is a very compact lens. I'm excited to take this outside and see what it can do. So now let's go ahead and check out some sample photos and videos using this lens. So that is it for the sample photos and videos. Here are some of the things that I noticed about this lens. I am not the biggest fan of this focus ring. It's a nitpicking point. The range on the focus is not very much, so from one end to the other is about a quarter turn, maybe a third of a turn, so you don't get a ton. Now the way that that translates into the real world is that focusing this lens is not the easiest thing in the world. It's easier than the 50mm Camlan f1.1 lens that I reviewed, but it's not as easy as the 25mm 7artisans lens. If you are just starting out and you're looking for a cheap manual lens that's fast, I would probably recommend the 7artisans 25mm over this thing because it's a little bit more difficult to get things in focus and use this lens because of that narrow focal plane. This lens also has some of the craziest red flaring I've ever seen. So the things that I like about this lens, I like the bokeh, it's nice. I like the super small form factor, it's very easy to pack with you. I like the fact that it's all metal or aluminum construction. It feels nicely built in the hand. It's a bit like the older vintage tank lenses out there, but you don't have to deal with any of the fungus or other issues with old vintage lenses because this is brand new. Image quality wide open at f1.2 isn't super sharp, but it's not terrible. I think that stop down, it definitely sharpens up. But I am curious as to how this lens would do compared to the Meike or Neewer 35mm f1.7 lens, which is about half the price. Speaking of price, this thing is about $150. And you kind of expect that just because of how fast it is. I found that any lens faster than f1.7 for the E-mount usually is a little bit more spendy because you're letting a lot of light in and people will pay a premium for that. The focal plane is paper thin with this thing, even though it's a 35mm lens, so it's a fun challenge to get things in focus. Has no optical stabilization, so unless you're using it on the a6500, your video is going to be a bit shaky. So I will be doing a side-by-side comparison between this lens and the Neewer Meike 35 f1.7 to see which one is the better deal, which one produces better images. That is really it for this review. I hope you guys enjoyed it and learned something. If you have any experience with this lens, if you've used it or tried it, post down below. I'm interested in what you guys think about it. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for all of the likes, comments, and support. Stay tuned for more, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.